Welcome back to a new video, guys. Today we're going to learn how to sound like a native English speaker. You're going to be practicing your accent, your pronunciation, and your confidence when speaking in English. I want you guys to follow along on the right-hand side and shadow me. This will really help you sound like a native English speaker. Without further ado, let's get started. Am I the a-hole for telling my best friend if she wasn't always trying to get with my husband, her boyfriend wouldn't have left her? By the sounds of it, in my opinion, probably not. If someone is trying to get with your husband, I think you have all the right to call them out, especially if it got to the point where her boyfriend left her. Although we're not sure yet if her boyfriend left her because she was always trying to get with OP's husband. So we're not exactly sure about that yet, but we'll read it and then we'll see. I, 27 female, have been friends with Kira, 27 female, since we were little. We were neighbors, went to the same school, college, etc. She was my maid of honor when I married Rowan, 28 male, who we went to college with. At first, Kira had a big crush on him, but he started liking me. We slowly got closer and I started liking him too. This was after Kira had told me she'd gotten over it and was dating another guy. But I still felt really guilty and didn't want to date him if it would hurt Kira. I asked her multiple times if she was okay with it and she said she was. So I thought it was fine. Kira's been with her latest boyfriend, Adam, 27 male, for a year or so. However, over the last few months, she's been acting strange around Rowan. Whenever we'd be hanging out with the three of us, or even with Adam there, she'd always find some way to sit next to Rowan, laugh at everything he said, etc. I didn't think anything of it initially because I knew that's kind of her personality, and she and Rowan are friends. But then she started always asking me if Rowan was there before she came over, and if I said no, she'd often suddenly say she couldn't come, though sometimes she would say that even if I said he was there. Rowan also told me about a comment she made to him once about how he was so patient for putting up with me being too tired to do anything with him, now that I was pregnant, which I thought was weird. Yeah, so by the sounds of it, it does seem like her friend wants her boyfriend. I don't think they're married yet. Her friend wants her boyfriend. By the sounds of it, just the way she's explaining it and telling the story, and especially from the very beginning, initially she liked Rowan, but then Rowan did not like her back. Rowan liked OP, so Rowan and OP got together. However, the friend must still have some feelings for Rowan. Let's continue. The odd behavior continued. The most important part of learning a language, and the reason why everyone learns a language, is to be able to speak the language. These videos help you with your listening, but how can you practice your speaking even more? You need to practice by shadowing. Shadowing is just repeating after a native English speaker to practice your pronunciation, your accent, and your confidence. And I've started making videos specifically just to practice those three things. So if you guys want to become more confident in English and become truly fluent, check out my Patreon in the description, where I give you guys 3 new videos every week to practice your pronunciation, your accent, and most importantly, your confidence. I'll see you guys there. We are going to be learning English as I clean up my pronunciation, your accent, your rhythm, and your confidence. It was just a roundabout way of her politely trying to spare my feelings. The a-hole for giving all of my coworkers a different reason for why I have missing fingers, so I wouldn't take legal action. Down to he company-wide training on his behavior. He chooses not, but I was already so cranky. Okay, so we're in, I did so much shopping in Mushima, the jeans and 1 hoodie, Let's continue. The odd behavior continued, but TBH, which just stands for to be honest, is very common when you're texting to write TBH, to be honest. So, but to be honest, the pregnancy had been keeping me too exhausted to give it a lot more thought. And Rowan seemed as friendly with Kira as always. But 2 days ago, our mutual friend Shay threw a dinner party. Me and Rowan went, as did Kira and Adam. Kira got a bit tipsy and she kept trying to sit with Rowan and touch him. He excused himself a few times, but she kept finding him. I tried to get her off a few times and I was getting mad because this was a new line she was crossing. Yeah, especially if someone is trying to touch your boyfriend and you're there, and even if you're not there, that is crossing multiple boundaries and lines. And you know what they say, a very popular and common saying in English is drunk words are sober thoughts. So although she's not saying anything, I feel like it still applies. Like, drunk actions are sober desires. She was slurring about how I stole Rowan from her. Thankfully, Adam was too busy talking to Shay's husband to hear this, but he definitely saw Kira's actions. The next afternoon, I was at Shay's again with some friends when Kira showed up. She was crying about how Adam had broken up with her that day, saying he didn't think they were going to work out. Everyone was consoling her, but I was just kind of sitting there. I couldn't help but feel like she brought this upon herself. She asked me, "Aren't you going to say something?" So I said, maybe Adam wouldn't have left you if you weren't trying to get with Rowan all the time. Some of our other friends were shocked to hear this and got mad at Kira. Some got angry with me, saying Kira was just really friendly with everyone, and that was a horrible accusation to make. Kira was upset, saying she couldn't believe I thought that of her, and maybe we really weren't that close. She left in tears, and I left soon after too. Now I don't know, maybe I was wrong. Kira had been drinking at the dinner party and might not have meant what she said, and the other stuff could have been nothing. Maybe this was too harsh to say to her after a breakup, and we could have talked privately, not in front of our friends. So, am I the a-hole? Okay, personally, I don't think you're the a-hole, because you kind of just said it as is. Like, she has been bothering you a lot, and you have kind of like had the feeling that she was trying to get with your husband just through her actions and, you know, what she was saying. So I think this was just kind of like a culmination of all that built up maybe frustration with her, and then you ended up saying that, which could be true, could not be true. It was probably better to talk to her privately, I would say, and even before she broke up with Adam, I believe his name was, even before Adam broke up with her, you could have talked to her and been like, what's your deal? Like, am I seeing this right? Are you trying to get with Rowan? You always bring him up, you mention him, you talk about him, you're trying to touch him all the time. Like, is there some underlying feelings? And then just see how she reacts. I know that's probably a very difficult conversation to have, especially with a longtime friend, but I think that could have really helped kind of understand the situation and understand where she was coming from and how she felt. And saying this was kind of like a little petty on your part, but then again, I don't think you're the a-hole for saying it. Rowan is your boyfriend after all, not hers. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my friends to get effed? I, 29 female, love to cook. I cook all kinds of stuff. Tofu, chicken, soup, sausage, Asian, Mexican, Italian, etc. I love to make things from scratch. 2 examples. Was in a tofu kick, so I made my own from raw soybeans. Was on a chalupa kick, but they're $7 each. WTF Taco Bell. So I made my own fry bread and toppings, etc. I love to bake Christmas cookies and make little treats. Anyways, all this to explain that I take a lot of pride in making food and I love to feed people. My 2 closest friends, 21 female and 25 female, shit on me every time I make something that isn't chicken tenders basically. I make a chicken gnocchi soup and one tells me it looks like it has bugs in it. I make a tofu stir fry and the other tells me it looks like poop from a butt. They know it bothers me and still continue to do it. It's not like I forced them to eat the food. I did make 21 female try tofu one time, not even the dish posted above, which I'll admit didn't look how I wanted it to, even if it was delicious. Today I woke up to a Facebook post of them publicly mocking me about how my food is only meant for starving orphans. Whoa, that is very harsh. So I told them both to get effed and now I'm the dramatic one. So am I the a-hole? Whoa. Okay, that really took like a 180 degree turn like that. Wow. So they made a public Facebook post mocking your food, saying it's only meant for starving orphans. First of all, that is very rude to the OP that wrote this. Second of all, who says that about orphans? That's really in bad taste. That's wow. Yeah, no, these are not good friends. If I had a friend that made a public post saying not even my food, but some random food is only meant for starving orphans, whoa. Just because they're orphans and starving doesn't mean they deserve like bad food. What? Wow. Okay, you are definitely not the a-hole. Your friends are kind of crazy. I would literally stop being friends with these people if this ever happened to me. Wow. Shocking. Okay, next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend I don't want to end up like her after she told me to lower my standards? I, 22 female, met Rachel, 23 female, 3 years ago in university, and we became friends. For context, I have never dated before, and I am okay with that. I don't purposefully seek out relationships, and I am comfortable being by myself. I have a few close friends, and this is enough for me. In contrast, Rachel has had a lot of boyfriends and doesn't like to be single. Her words. She met her husband, Max, 2 years ago in one of the uni classes, and they quickly began dating. He isn't the most pleasant guy to be around, in my opinion. IMO just stands for in my opinion. Once again, if you're writing like a proper paper or an email, you're gonna have to write in my opinion, the full word, but she's just like, this is like texting spelling, text, when you want to text quick, in my opinion. And they had quite a few big arguments during the relationship. He even tried to flirt with me, and I told Rachel about it, but she dismissed it, saying he was probably just trying to butter me up, so I helped him with homework. He has told me sexist jokes in the past too. Whenever they fought, I always told Rachel she deserves better and to break up with him, but in the end, they always made up. This could be annoying, especially if you're friends with her and you see that the person your friend is in a relationship with is not a good person, but your friend can't see it, and you try to like, you know, tell her your opinion, but you also don't want to like get into their business and into their relationship because that might affect your friendship with your friend. So it's definitely a sticky situation to be in. He proposed to her after 1 year and they got married 4 months ago. Oof, wow. I think proposing after 1 year is extremely fast. Wow, 1 year. However, after they moved in together in the flat that Rachel's parents pay the rent for, Max became even worse. He never helps out with the cleaning or cooking, doesn't really take Rachel out on dates anymore, and whenever she tried to talk to him about it, Max tells her to stop complaining about wife duties. So he is misogynistic. Wow. So a few days ago, Rachel asked me if I would like to go on a date with one of her friends from high school who is single and is looking for a relationship. I've never been on a date before, so I agreed out of curiosity. We went to a nice restaurant. The guy never asked me a single question about myself back, and after I got tired of coming up with questions about him, we just sat the rest of the meal in awkward silence. We split the bill, and after he walked me to the subway station, he tried to kiss me. I declined as politely as I could and went home. The next day, I met up with Rachel. Apparently, she's already heard about how the date went from her friend. She asked me why I rejected him. I told her the reason I mentioned before, and that I didn't really like the guy. Then she rolled her eyes and said that I need to lower my standards because I'm honestly not that attractive. That I blew maybe my only chance to date, and if I continue like that, I'll end up forever alone. Even though she knows I'm fine without a relationship. Also, I'm not insecure about my appearance, but hearing my friends say that about me hurt. I got angry and said, better to be forever alone than end up like you, with a husband that doesn't respect me. Facts. She started crying and said that I'm being rude when she's just trying to look out for me, and then left. We haven't texted or spoken since. Honestly, I'm not sure if I want to salvage this friendship after finding out this is how Rachel felt about me all this time. However, I feel guilty for saying this to her when I knew it was a sore spot, and also for kind of blaming her for the fact that her husband is awful. So, am I the a-hole in this situation? I think you are the a-hole, but not for saying that to her. I think she definitely needs to face the fact that her husband's not really a good person. But I feel like you should have tried harder earlier on in the relationship. That's why I think you were the a-hole. You could have tried to open up her eyes to how the rest of her life with this person was going to be, but instead you just blamed her after your feelings got hurt, which I kind of think is an a-hole move, to just snap back after someone insulted you. Yeah, it's definitely fair game. They insulted you, so you insult them. Fair enough. But if it was your friend, you should have tried harder earlier on to kind of like open up her eyes to how her current husband is before she married him. So you're not the a-hole for saying that, but you are the a-hole for not helping out your friend, in my opinion. In my opinion, if I had a friend and I was in a relationship like this, I would want them to do their best to help me, realize how they really are before I marry them. But yeah, that's just my opinion. As always, guys, I want you to take out your phone, open up your camera, and record yourself talking about what you learned today, any new words you learned, and also summarize this whole video. If you need to, watch the video again, shadow it again, and then take a video. This will really help you track your progress. If you guys want more videos like this one, make sure to let me know in the comments. I also want to know, guys, have you ever been put in an awkward situation like any of these stories I just read? You guys can answer that question on your phone when you record yourself, or you can let me know in the comments an awkward situation you experienced and also had to confront. Let me know, guys. In this lesson, I want you to shut. I'll see you guys in the next video, and remember, you will become fluent in English. Bye, guys.